Right. Good evening. So in the last Sunday, right? Last Friday, we started to discuss past papers. In that class, we took 2019, 2018, and 2016 MCQ questions on ICT and society, right? In our last unit. So I took some time to explain those MCQs because I thought that they are important for exams, and also since the last unit is not the biggest unit, questions can be repeated, right? The questions which were asked in the past can be asked again. So better go through all the questions, including MCQ, right? Including MCQ and understand every fact, right? So that may be the reason why I took some time to explain those MCQs. Even though those are MCQ questions, I took some time, right? So hereafter, we have to continue from where we left, right? So I thought I explained 2015 and the first question, right? So, but not the second question. From that, we have to discuss. Okay, so as I requested earlier, I hope that you all have done some homework and you have practiced those questions and hope you have the answers, right? So then only it will be useful, it will be meaningful, right? Okay, so let's start the papers from 2015. Right, okay. I explained the first one, right? 2015 was explained, right? But not the second one. I mentioned the answers for second one, but not explained in detail. Okay, look at the second again. Which of the following are appropriate measures in protecting a computer system from virus infection, right? So how to prevent viruses? A, paying greater attention to email attachments received. Yes, that must be important. As we discussed during the class, email attachment can be a potential source for viruses, right? So you must take care, right? So that is okay. First one is correct. Taking care in the use of external storage devices, yes, right? Most of the viruses, worms, or even Trojan horse can be spread using through this removable storage devices, right? So that is important. Right, disabling the use of macro facility in software. This is the one which I have to explain. So in some of the application software, there is a facility called macro. Even most of the Microsoft Office packages have this facility macro. So macro is a facility in application software to do some actions repeatedly. So without, assume, so take a look at your MS Excel, Microsoft Excel. So in MS Excel, you may do some of the tasks again and again and again. So like, since you assume that you are an employee in an institution, your daily task is to, constructing tables, right? Designing table and entering the data and calculating the total or something. So every day you have to do that. You have to do the same task. Same task means maybe putting tables, making some formattings like changing the font color, changing the font size, and finding the sum average. So your repeated, your tasks are always repeated. So in that case, you may use the macro. You can take the help of macro because macro can help you to do some repeated actions. So, doing that same task again and again, right? Changing fonts and colors is sometimes difficult because every time you have to do the same thing. So rather than doing the same thing every day, you can do that task one day and record your actions, record your formattings using macro. So macro is used to record your activities, record your formattings. Thereafter, every time when you do the same task, you can use the record and macro. This is the reason why macro is used. You can check the macro in MS Word, Excel, they have, right? You may go to the file tab and find it. But unfortunately, some of the viruses may come to your computer if your macro is enabled, right? If your macro is enabled in your computer, they can easily, attach to macro and they can do some bad things. Even they can spread from one application to another. If it comes to one MS Word application, then it can move to another MS Word program, maybe Excel. So even without knowing yourself, they can format your text, right? Which means they can delete some of your text. They can add some new unwanted paragraphs. So it is very, very harmful if the macro is enabled. So earlier, Microsoft enabled the macro facility in MS Word and Excel. But once a virus attacked that facility macro, then Microsoft turned them into disabled. Now you can check macro is disabled in even Excel in Word. Right, so always disable your macro, because if macro is enabled, why it's a small program, macro is a small program. So if it is enabled, virus can attach itself in macro and do some bad things. So the things are, it can easily, go from one program to another, and also it can edit your text, it can edit your paragraph, right? So it is always important to disable. Okay, so by doing disabling, you can prevent the malware attack. Okay, so all these things are correct. Remember, this can be asked in exam, disabling the macro. Okay, next one. Which of the following is or are useful to consider when purchasing a computer? Right. So when purchasing a computer, you need to check many things. So some of the things may be related to technical perspective. Some of them are not related to technical. We categorize them technical related things, non-technical. So if it is technical, so assume that you want to buy a computer. So you need to focus many technical things. First and foremost is your processor speed, right? Your CPU speed, and also your CPU manufacturer, whether it is Intel processor or whether it is AMD, Cyrix. There are many, right? So the manufacturer, even the random access memory capacity of RAM, it's important. Even your secondary storage device capacity, which means hard disk, right? Hard disk capacity, even VGA capacity. So there may be many hardware related things considered. Not only these things, I mention only few. I mention only the most important hardware things, but there may be many. Even the number of ports available, number of USB ports available, right? Everything is hardware related. By considering all these hardware related things, you have to consider some of the non-technical things, like maybe the price. Price is nowhere near to technical, right? So it is, but you have to consider that price. Even the seller who is selling that product, right? Seller, whether he or she has a good name in the society, right? So it is goodwill, right? Goodwill for that company, that is important. You can't purchase the computer from anyone, right? So you have to trust them. So that is important. Even the warranty period, right? Warranty period is important, because once your computer, goes wrong, you have to, give that and get a new one, or maybe repaired, right? So it is important. So there may be many things to be checked. Both are technical and non-technical. Take a look at the options. A, brand reputation of a computer. That is important, right? You have to check the brand, right? So whether the brand has a good name in the society. So brand is important, right? Even if it is mobile phone or any other electronic device, you have to check the brand, or you have to check the brand reputation, whether they have a good name in the society or not. That is brand, it is okay. Vendor reputation, yes, that is also. Brand is different than seller, right? Seller is the one who can sell the brands. The seller can sell any kind of brands, right? So seller is important. Even though the brand is important, at the same time you have to check the person who is selling, right? So it is important. Warranty period of the computer, yes, as I told you earlier, warranty must be. So when purchasing a computer, you need to focus or you need to consider all these three things, right? Even though they are non-technical things, see, none of them are technical, right? All of them are non-technical things, but they are important, right? A, B, C, last one. Okay, let's move to the 2014. Okay, look at the question. Which of the following statement or statements true regarding telemedicine? Okay, so it's about telemedicine, the one that you have studied in grade 10 first unit, right? Because grade 10 also related to ICT and society. The internet or other network systems are used to maintain the connection between the doctor and the patient. Yes, in telemedicine, both the patients and the doctors must be connected. They are not in the single place, same place. They are in different places. Definitely, they must be connected with the help of internet or maybe a kind of network. That is okay, right? First one is right. Patients in local medical institutions with network connections could be remotely examined by specialist doctors residing in distinct locations. Yes, that is of course telemedicine, right? Patients may be in local hospitals or local medical institutions. They are examined by specialist doctors who are in different areas, different hospitals or different regions. So that is telemedicine. That is also true. Telemedicine could be used to improve the efficiency of clinical, medical, health education, administrative, and research activities. Yes, the telemedicine is not something which something that you can put in a small circle. It's a big one, right? It includes all the medical related activities. It may be a clinical activity, it may be a medical research, it may be medical administrative. So all these things come under telemedicine, right? Don't think that telemedicine is a small circle. It's only treating the patient with the low distance locations. Yes, that is there, but in addition to the treatment, it includes all these other things like clinical, maybe health educations, administrative, so research, everything comes under telemedicine, right? So remember the last point. Sometimes you may think that the last point is wrong because it has some different ideas like administrative, maybe clinical, but everything comes under telemedicine. Okay, so this is the first one. What's the answer? A, B, C, right? All of them are correct because the question is following statements true, right? True statements on telemedicine. So all of them are true. Okay, right. Right, then next one. Which of the following can be potential sources of computer virus? Right, potential sources, maybe hidden sources. So pirated software, is it a potential source? Yes, I told you to buy authorized software, right? Don't buy copied or pirated software because pirated softwares may have malwares, right? So even though question is virus, any malware is possible. Okay, so that is okay. Pirated software can be a potential source for virus. Okay, that is correct. Second, scanner. So here, I think the scanner here to be taken as flatbed scanner. There may be so many scanners. Take it as flatbed scanner. If it is scanner, mostly it means flatbed scanner. So flatbed scanner is an electronic device. It never spreads any viruses. It never has any viruses because think about that device. It is a device. It doesn't have any memory. It doesn't have any storage. So it only inputs your documents to the computer. So there is no possibility for having viruses, right? So that is not okay. So your scanner, your flatbed scanner never have any viruses. Shared flash drive, that is okay, right? Because the flash drive can be used by many people. Even if you have a pen drive, your family members can share that. So definitely there is a possibility for having viruses. Okay, so the last one is right. Question is potential sources, right? Potential sources, hidden sources for viruses, right? So A, C, correct. Right, you answer second. A, C, not scanner. Scanner never. Okay, right. Next one. Which of the following helps to bridge digital divide? Hope you remember the term bridge, bridging the digital divide, which means narrowing the gap, right? Reducing the gap between those two people, right? Those who have the access to ICT and those who don't have. Okay, what's the answer? Providing computer laboratory facilities to schools which do not have computing facilities, yes, right? So when computers are donated, you know, those people can learn them. Second, establishing community centers with internet connectivity for rural communities, yes, because when computers and internet connectivities are given for community centers, right? So the people in rural area, people in village can understand or can practice the ICT. They can practice about internet, and they can handle the devices. So definitely their skills must be gradually increased, right? So that is okay. Hope you understand the term digital divide, right? If you don't understand the digital divide, you can't get the answers. So digital divide means it's a gap between those people who have the access to ICT and the people who don't have the access to ICT, right? So by doing such things, you can improve those people who don't have the access to ICT. Okay, so second also correct. Third one, motivating students to select the ICT subject for their ordinary level examinations. That is correct, because see, as I told you earlier in the class, all the people come from schools. So if students are educated with ICT, or if the ICT literacy is given in school, you know, when you come to the society, you all have the ability to use ICT. So there is no more digital divide. Okay, so that is okay. You can motivate the students to select ICT as a subject in G.C.E. O-level examinations, right? All these initiatives can reduce the gap, right? Which means it is bridging. Okay, so answer A, B, C, all. Okay, A, B, C, all. Right, next, go to the next one. Okay, 2013. First one. Consider the following statements. A virus is a software which replicates by itself. Yes, how many times we studied that, right? So virus has the ability to replicate. So first one is correct. Unwanted mails received by an email user are called spam. Okay, yes, correct. Right, spams are unwanted emails. Right, I use the, hope you remember the word, right? I use the word bulk emails, right? So those emails are sent to a number of people at the same time. They are unwanted, so they are called spam mails, right? Usually mails come to inbox, but these unwanted emails can be diverted to another folder called spam. Okay. Spyware can sense the information of users such as passwords without their knowledge. Yes. So as the name implies, spyware comes to our computer without making any symptoms, right? They hide it themselves, and then they take some of the vital information, sensitive informations, and sends them to the others, right? So they are very dangerous because they never show themselves to us, right? So even Trojan horse is something like that, right? Spyware, it can do that spyware activity. Bot can be, okay? So all of them are correct, right? So A, B, C. Next one. Encryption. I use the word, I explain encryption when I explain logical security in the last minute. What is encryption? It's a technique, or even I can say it's a mathematical technique used to convert a data to unreadable format, in a scramble format. In order to protect your data, right, you have to do this, because once someone access your computer, they can read your data. Even though you take regular backups, even though you have passwords and everything, you know, your data can be hacked. But if it is encrypted, even though they are hacked, the others cannot view that because they are in unreadable format. Okay, so it is the fact. Okay, come to the question now. Encryption can be used, first one, to protect the business information from unauthorized access. Yes, you have business information in your PC, in your mobile phone, so unauthorized access is possible. So if it is encrypted, it is protected, right? So that is correct. To effectively use the bandwidth of the internet, no, right? So there is no way near. So bandwidth is not related to security. Bandwidth is always related to the speed of the internet, right? So bandwidth never related to encryption. Okay, so you can ignore that. It is something related to the speed of the internet. Okay. C, to protect the secrecy of the information stored in databases. Yes, that is important. You have data in your databases. You have to maintain the secret. So if it is encrypted, the secret can be maintained because they are in unreadable format. Even though they are taken by another people, they cannot read them, right? So it means your data are safe, right? So they are in secret position, right? So AC, right? AC, correct. What is the answer? Second one. Second. All right. So go to the next one, 2012. Right. Take a look at this. Dash security of ICT applications can be improved through the use of usernames and passwords. Which of the following is most suitable to fill the above blank? Right. Using username and password. What's the kind of security is this? So what's the kind of protection is this? Using passwords, using usernames, that must be logical protection, right? So logical security of ICT applications can be improved through using passwords and username. So I just want to recall that we have logical protection and also physical protection. If it is physical protection, you have to protect your computer using some devices like UPS or surge protector, fuse, right? Even you can lock your door. So these are physical related things. If it is logical, you cannot use devices. Instead of using devices, you have to use some mechanisms, you have to use some technologies, and also mostly they are used for protecting your data in the computer, right? So we have usernames, passwords, encryptions, right? Software firewall, they are for protecting your data. Okay, so answer logical, not physical. Huh? Next one. Second, which of the following helps to bridge the digital divide? Donating computers to schools which have less facilities. Yes, right. There is no need for discuss. We can understand that it is okay, right? Second, improving computer literacy of communities which have less computer literacy. Yes, you have to improve their skill, ICT skill in any means, right? It may be giving internet connection for community centers. It may be establishing computer centers in rural areas. So using some means, you have to improve them, right? You have to develop them. So that is okay. C, providing internet connectivity to the communities which have less internet access. That is also correct, right? So all these three things can reduce the gap, which means bridge the digital divide. Okay. So we have the same question, right? Almost similar question earlier. So now also we have that. Okay. So that's why I told you mostly the questions are repeated, but with some changes, right? With some changes they are repeated. So practicing the questions, very helpful. Okay. Next one. Third, right? Okay. Which of the following help to reduce repetitive stress injury when using computers? Right? Which of the following can reduce the RSI? you know RSA, right? The pains that you experience from shoulder to fingers when you do some repeated things in the computer, right? So what look at the one. I read out the question again. Which of the following help to reduce the RSA, right? Number one, keeping the wrist straight and level with the lower arm when typing, right? Keeping the wrist straight and level to lower arm, which means your elbow should be parallel. Yes, that is correct. Having or maintaining this one is very important, right? Your wrist must be straight and also your elbow must be parallel. So that is correct. That can reduce RSA because RSA is something from here to here, right? Shoulders to fingers. Taking precautionary measures such as blinking to avoid eye strain. That may not be related to RSI, that is related to, what is it, CVS, computer vision syndrome, right? You have to blink the eye to avoid the eye strain, right? That is not RSI. C, keeping the computer in a suitable place to avoid indirect glare, which means bright light. So, you know, bright light can affect your computer. If you are locating your computer in a near to window or something, so sometimes, you know, direct light can affect that. So you have to find a suitable place for your computer. So of course that is also related to CVS, right? Computer vision syndrome, because it is related to your vision. It is related to your eyes, not related to shoulders fingers, right? From shoulders to fingers. So we can ignore that. So here the best answer is A only. But I think that in the past paper, in the scheme, they gave the answer for all the three, A, B, C, because at that time your syllabus wasn't given in detail. These different kinds of diseases were not described. So I think that only RSI was described in that particular syllabus, right? So they thought that every disease that a computer user falls can be taken RSI. In that period, those things can be accepted. So even the book says that every kind of pain or any kind of pain a computer users experiences can be RSI, but you know that is actually not the right concept. So RSI is related to something from here to here. So you can ignore these two because they are serious, right? Computer vision syndrome. So even though this marking scheme has a different answer, better stick with the first answer, right? That may be the best answer because even you may have that idea, right? Because both B and C are not related to shoulders and fingers, right? From shoulders to fingers, they are related to eyes. Okay, so A only may be the best answer. Right, let's move to 2011. Consider the following statements. A, firewalls are only available as hardware and does not exist in the form of software. Right, we have the idea, right? So even in the grade 10 syllabus also we discussed hardware firewalls are available as well as software firewalls are available. Mostly hardware firewalls are attached to servers, right? If you have servers, they must be protected because servers can be attacked by external factors like hackers. So you have to give maximum security for servers. So in that case, the best choice is having hardware firewall, right? But for protecting personal computers, you may go with software firewall, right? So you cannot accept the first one because as it says, according to that statement, does not exist in the form of software. That is wrong, right? Firewalls are available on both hardware and software format. Okay, first one is wrong. Second, a computer, right? First one is wrong. A computer worm is a self-replicating malware computer program which spreads through a computer network. Okay. I take it again. A computer worm is a self-replicating malware computer program which spreads through a computer network. That is correct. Similar to computer virus, worm can replicate, right? But at the same time, worm can spread through a computer network. So that is correct. Okay. C. Spam is the use of electronic messaging systems to send large volumes of unwanted emails indiscriminately, right? That is correct, because I already told you bulk emails can be spam, right? So emails are sent to users or to customers in numbers, right? So they can be taken as bulk emails and consider them as spam. Okay, so B and C are correct. The first one is not correct. Okay, your answer is last. If you have any doubt, ask me, right? You can ask at any time. I don't take much time because I feel that they are simple, right? Seems that they are too simple and doesn't need much descriptions, right? Explanations. Okay, take a look at this. Consider the following statements regarding malware. A. Trojan horse at first glance will appear to be useful software, but will actually do damage when installed run on the computer. Once installed or run on the computer. So at the first glance, it will look like a useful software, but it does damages when the computer is, when the program is installed. Yes, that is the characteristic of a Trojan horse, right? It shows itself as a good software, but when we click on it, it starts damaging, right? So that is okay. First one is correct. A worm can replicate itself over a network and has the ability to travel without any human interaction. You have to consider that point, right? Worms have such ability, right? They can replicate themselves. At the same time, they can spread through computer viruses without any human interaction, without the help of human, right? Without the interaction of any human, it can spread. So that is also correct. Okay, but if it is virus can replicate, but it never spreads without the user involvement, right? See, a computer virus attaches itself to a program or file, enabling it to spread from one computer to another, leaving infections as it travels. That is correct, right? So as I mentioned just now, virus never spreads alone. So what it does is it attaches itself to a program or file, right, and spread to another computer through that file. So if virus is attached to a program or to a file in my computer, when that file is taken to another computer, virus also moves, right? But virus never travels alone. Virus attaches itself to another program, another file, or another folder. But when the folder is moved from one place to another, virus also moves, right? So that is correct. So all of them are correct, because the question is which of the above are correct. Okay. So from these questions, you can get some points, right? They are important. Like I said earlier, whenever we do past papers, you can gain some additional knowledge, right? Additional stuff related to subject, right? Next one. Consider the following. A person using a commercial software without the license. Okay, let's take the question first. Then only you can take the points. Which of the above can be considered as unethical, right? Unethical things. Check the A again. A person using a commercial software without the license. Is it an ethical action? You are using a commercial software without having license, which means without purchasing, right? Without purchasing, you are using a licensed product. That is not the ethical one, right? That is illegal, right? Unethical. So that's first one, right? First one is unethical. The question is unethical activity. First one is unethical. Second, a person using another person's login details. a person using another person's login details. You cannot do that, right? So you cannot use others' login details in your computer. That is unethical because those username login details means username and passwords. So having or entering their usernames and passwords and visiting to their personal accounts is not ethical activity. Is not not the thing to be done, right? So that is unethical. A business reveals information about customers to others without the consent from the customers. We had a similar statement in the previous years, right? A business reveals information about customers to others without the consent of the customers, right? So how, you see, you are running a business, you have customers, you have their information like phone numbers or maybe email address, some other things, right? Now some or maybe another company requests you to give the customers details and their phone numbers and emails. Can you give them? No, right? That is unethical. Without the customers permission, without the consent of the customers, you cannot give those information to the others. So this is also unethical, right? This is also unethical. Last, a person creating viruses and spreading to the others' computers. Creating viruses and spread to the others. This is not a good one because if it is virus, you know, it can do bad things. It can affect the others' computers. So damaging the others' computers is not a good action, right? So all these four things are unethical activities. So so since the question is unethical things, you can say that all these things are unethical. So answer A, B, C, D. Okay, A, B, C, D. Next one. 2009, right? Okay. Consider the following three statements A, B, and C. A. Passwords are used to protect system from viruses. Look at the question first. Which of the above statements are false? Right? You are requested to find the false statement. Passwords are used to protect the system from viruses. Can password prevent the virus? Never. Right? Password can prevent some kind of unauthorized access. But virus can come in different means, right? It comes through internet, it comes through removable storage devices. So having password is not the way to prevent virus, right? So that one is wrong. But the question is false statement. So first one can be taken the answer because that is false. Second, a key factor of determining system vulnerability to attack is weak password, right? So, you know, weak password, we have strong passwords and we have weak passwords. So strong passwords are always hard to guess. You cannot guess the other's password if they are strong, right? Strong passwords. So if it is strong password, like I mentioned earlier, it may have 8 characters, minimum 8 characters. In addition to that, it has capital letters, small letters. It has numbers. It has symbols. So it looks like a mixture, right? So that looks like a strong password. Others cannot guess it. But if it is weak password, anyone can guess it. So if you give some of the common things like your name, your NIC number, right, your phone number, like ABC 1 2 3, these are too easy to guess, right? So these are called weak passwords. Even giving only letters as password, giving only numbers and as password, these are weak passwords. So weak password is always a way to attack the system. So second one can be correct. Because if your password is weak, anyone can easily hack your system. Anyone can attack your system and enter into that, right? So that is of course correct. That may be the key factor, right? Next one. C. Emailing a password is a secure method of distribution. Right? Emailing a password is a secure method of distribution. No, you cannot email any passwords, right? So assume that you want to send your email password to your brother or sister. They are not, or she is not with you, right? She is in another area, so you have to give that. So sending that particular password through email is not safe, because you know that email can be hacked while your password is being sent. It can be hacked by another person. Another person can come and read it, right? So if it is password, that person can read and take that. It is very dangerous. So if it is encrypted, sometimes it is safe, but anyway, you cannot send some sensitive informations in emails, such as passwords or usernames or credit card numbers. So emailing a password is a secure method of distribution, wrong, right? So here, false statements, right? You are requested to select the false statement. So the last one is a false statement, and also first one, right? Passwords are used to protect the system from virus. That is also false statement. Our second statement is the true statement. So false statement, so A and C, last one, right? A and C. Next one. The virus that is disguised as a useful computer program is called, right? That is disguised, which means presenting itself as a useful one, right? Presenting, showing that one. So here it can be replaced as malware, but since the question is very old, you know, 2009, so that may be the initial time of ICT for grade 10 and 11, right? ICT was introduced around 2007, right? 2007. So since this is very beginning, you know, some questions might have some mistakes. Some words may be wrongly added. Don't take them as wrong. You can, you can correct that and understand, right? So here it is not a virus. Malware that is disguised as a useful computer program is called, what is it? Showing as a useful program. What is it? Trojan horse. Okay, Trojan horse. Next one. Which of the following describes software piracy? I explained about piracy on the other day. So piracy, pirated software, you know that, right? Piracy. Copying of computer programs illegally. Second, backing up of all the software in the hard disk. Third, infecting hard disk with uncommon viruses. Fourth, selling personal computer software for large profit. What is piracy? Copying a licensed software without purchasing, or copying or distributing a licensed software, proprietary software without purchasing. That is called software piracy. The software which has been copied illegally is called pirated software, right? Pirated software. So what is software piracy here? The first one, right? Copying of computer programs illegally. So even though the word license program is missed, license is missed, right? You can take it because none of the other options are suitable. So copying of a computer programs, which means copying a licensed computer program illegally, right? Illegally, that is called software piracy. Because if it is an open source, you can copy, right? You can copy and use it. But if it is a licensed program, definitely you have to purchase, right? You cannot copy that. So first answer is correct. Next one. Digital divide separates. How many times we have seen such questions, right? Digital divide. Look here. Hardware digital divide separates hardware into two categories, analog and digital. Second, software into two categories, systems and applications. Firmware into two categories, ROM and CMOS RAM. People into two categories, computer literate and computer illiterate. So according to these answers, according to these options, the last one is the suitable, because none of the others don't describe anything about digital divide, because digital divide is related to people, not the devices, right? You not the software. So we can simply ignore the first three. But like I mentioned on the other day, the last option, I discussed the same question on the other day, right? The last option may not be appropriate when it comes to digital divide, because digital divide means a gap between the people who have the access to ICT and who don't have, which doesn't mean they are totally illiterate and they are totally literate. There may be some other things, right? So even they don't have computer and internet facilities. They have lack of skills. So lack of skills, okay. But at the same time, you can't say that it is only lack of skill, right? Even having, not having computers and other related stuff also one of the important thing, right? So since it is MCQ, you can take the digital divide is the gap between literate, computer literate and computer illiterate. But if you ask to write a definition for digital divide in exam, don't do that. Don't write such answer. You have to give an appropriate, view. So you must mention that it is a gap between the people who have the access to modern ICT and those who don't have the access to modern ICT, which means, or which includes, having those ICT devices and also having the skill or ability to use them. Both must be there. Okay, I hope you understood. So here the answer is fourth. Next one, 2008. Right, 2008. Vinida borrows a book from her teacher, Miss Mageshiga, to read during the weekend. When she opens the book at home, she finds a piece of paper inside a book containing the following note. Okay, so Vinida borrows a book from her teacher, and when she opened, she found a piece of paper which has some of the information. Look at them. These are the things found on the piece of paper. Type of internet connection, dial-up. Date of connection 26/7/2008. Username Makeshiga. Password Agish Shagam, right? She understands that it should be the details of her teacher's internet connection. So once Vinida opens the piece of paper, she understands, after reading these information, she understands that these are the details or login details of the teacher's internet connection. Which of the following best describes her behavior to be ethical? Right? So which of the following best describe her? Her means Vinida, right? Vinida's behavior to be ethical behavior, right? So look here. Return the book as if she did not take any notice of it. I repeat that. Return the book as if she did not take any notice of it. So returning the book to the teacher, right? And so the first, according to the first statement, she has to return that particular book to the teacher without showing anything like she did, she observed or she found that information, right? So without showing that information, she returned. That is not an ethical way, because this student Vinida actually has seen that, right? Has seen such information. So hiding such information or hiding that he has or she has seen that is not good. So according to this statement, this Vinida has hide that particular incident, right? And return the book. This is not ethical. This is unethical, right? Okay. Second, inform immediately about the incident and say sorry for it. So inform that an incident to the teacher and say sorry. That may be okay, but okay, let's read the remaining thing, because here also she read them, and after that she returned and say sorry, right? But it seems okay, but she knew such information, right? She found the internet username, password. So saying sorry may not be enough, right? Okay, let's go and see whether there are any meaningful things I write up. Next one. Inform immediately about the incident and remind her to change the password. Inform immediately about this incident and remind her, which means remind the teacher to change the password. This may be the appropriate way, because by accident Vinitha read those vital sensitive information. So as soon as she read them, she has to inform the teacher about that incident and requesting the teacher to change the password, because so even though Vinitha never uses that username and password in his computer, but she has that duty to tell the teacher to change that, right? But it doesn't mean that Vinitha is going to use the login details in her computer. You can't take like that. But she knows that, she read it, so immediately she has to request the teacher to change the password, because she has viewed that. This may be the best way, even if you know such passwords of others, you have to do that. That person may be anyone, right? That person may be your friend, maybe your father, maybe your anyone. So if someone's password is known, if you take the password by any means, you have to request them to change that, right? So that may be the best option, but let's go to the last one and check it. Use the above details to test the connection and then inform the teacher about the incident. You cannot do that, right? So you cannot test whether her internet connection is working or not by using the username and password, and after that sending. You cannot test, because at the time when you found those informations, username and password, you understood they are the internet login details of your teacher. So if you understood, you cannot or you never try them in the computer, right? So that cannot be accepted. You cannot test whether the usernames and passwords are working or not, right? So you cannot do that. So what best answer among these four, best answer is third one. But second one seems to be ethical, but it is less than the third one, right? Third one is very meaningful. Third one is very ethical. But second one, right? So saying sorry may not be okay for ethical, right? So third is the correct answer. Right. Next. Right. That is not related with the last unit, but better take it. In computer applications, the acronym CAD generally stands for, right? CAD, computer aided drawing, first one. Right, that is not actually in your syllabus. I think this is old, right? This is ICT contribution, right? ICT contribution, computer aided drawing, CAD. Last one, 2017, sorry, so the purpose of a password in a computer network is to allow access to the public to enter it, provide security and control access, speed up operations of the computer, provide equal privileges to all users. The question is, the purpose of a password in a computer network is to, what is it? Allow access to the public to enter it, right? Better second one is the best one, right? So provide security and control access. If it is password, you can provide the security and also you can controlling the access. The first one also has some confusions, but the best one is the second one, like provide the security and control access. Second, a poor or awkward posture at the computer for a short duration can cause, right? So a poor or awkward posture, which means it's not a good posture, right? At the computer for a short duration. It is not for long duration, for a short duration can cause, what is it? Right, look here, eye problem. Okay, let's discuss one by one. Eye problem. Eye problem is not for short distances, right? So it is for it is not for short distances, because eye problem definitely be experienced in long term, right? You cannot. So the question is the short duration awkward posture, right? The awkward posture of a computer for a short duration. So in a short duration, you cannot experience any eye pain. That is wrong. What about back pain? Even back pain never be felt in a short duration. So if you are using computer for a short period, you cannot that, right? So it is wrong. Mental stress, it is not right. Mental stress is not the right one, because mental stress is always there for a computer user, for someone who uses for longer period, right? If you are using computer for a longer period without sleeping, without taking meals, then you can feel mental stress. But for a short period, for this question, the phrase short duration is very important, right? In a short duration, mental stress cannot be. But nausea is the answer, right? So it is something which is related to vomiting, right? You may have the feeling that you have the vomiting, right? So actually it is not vomiting, you may have that feeling. So you seems to be vomit, but you have that particular symptom. That may be a short duration. Even you may have that experience while you are using a computer in a wrong position. Maybe your monitor is something very closer, your eye level is not appropriate. Sometimes you may feel that you want to vomit. That particular feeling should be the one which is done in a short duration, right? If it is, because for vomiting you don't need to be there in for longer period, right? Even for 5 minutes second, for 5 minutes or 1 hour, maybe half an hour, you can, right? So this is the answer. So it looks like symptom, or maybe it seems to be vomiting, right? Vomiting feeling, that is the answer. Last one. Which of the following is not recommended regarding health and safety of using computer? Not recommended, right? Use the computer during lightning. You can't do that, right? During the lightning time, the voltage can be increased, so you can be affected. Your devices can be affected. So this is not recommended. This may be the answer, but better check the others. Your face should be about 45 centimeters away from computer screen. Yes, that is correct, right? We discussed. Whenever you use computer for a longer duration, you need to have regular breaks. We discussed, right? So when we use computer for a longer period, you have to take regular breaks. That is okay. Avoid poor wiring and electrical connections in a computer room. That is also right. If you have a poor wiring, which means your electric wires are not properly connected or not properly fixed, electric shock is always possible, right? So as you think about your computer room, so if you are using many devices in a single roll plug or single extension cord, it can be very low and you can be affected. So you must have an appropriate wiring to the room. That is also correct, right? So you have to avoid poor wiring, right? That is correct. The question is not recommended, right? Not recommended. The first one never be recommended. Using computer during lightning, that can't be. Okay, so these are the MCQ questions which came in this particular unit. So now look here, we have done many questions. In every year there may be 3, there may be 4 questions, but none of them are hard. Very simple. Almost all the questions are related to subject content, and some of them are asked commonly, but even though they are related, they are in the syllabus or they are asked commonly, you can manage. Okay, so but I conclude the today's discussion at this point because the time is always up, almost up. But we have the second part. You know, second part questions are important because that can carry more marks than first part. So again, I request you to practice the second part, right? Discuss, I mean, spend some time to get the answer, and then only I can discuss. So when I'm discussing, you can compare and check your mistakes and check your answers. Okay, so this is enough. We can wind up and meet in the next class. Okay, thank you.